What's up, motherfuckers? Welcome back to another episode of Goddamn My Garage is Fucking Cold Choppin Podcast.
What's up, you flipping Weisenheimers?
Listen, boys, it's fucking chilly up here in the Northeast. I'll tell you what.
Not in this garage.
So here's the deal. I started telling myself, I know you guys have been hearing us talk about pellet stoves for fucking months. But listen, we're converting people one fucking episode at a time. I told myself, nights of the podcast, I'm going to get out of work. Usually I have a couple hours before we got to record the podcast. This week I've been working late every fucking day. And I work on a military base. It's a man-made island in the middle of the ocean. It's fucking freezing. So cold all fucking day. Get home late. Had to record this podcast late. But more of the story is I came home and didn't have time to turn the pellet stove on first. So we're recording. It's cold as fuck. It's right now. When I got in the garage, it was 32 degrees. And I wasn't even going to turn the pellet stove on. Rhino convinced me, like, hey, what are you doing, stupid? You're sitting right next to it. It'll take 2 minutes. So I got the pellet stove on, and now we're up to we've been running the pellet stove for about, 10 minutes? Yeah. And we're up to 34 degrees, so we're doing all right.
Yeah.
It's slowly climbing.
Yeah. It's no longer able to freeze your iced coffee, sitting right next to you.
And also, I have an infected tooth, if you can't tell. It looks like I got look at this. Looks like I got a lip pack in. Yeah, my shit's fucked, bro.
You're having a rough day today.
I'm having a rough life. I'm just waiting for it all to change.
No, but on the ocean too, like you get the ocean breeze, which makes it even colder, and then I'm sure there's some ocean mist flying around too.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's not fucking friendly out there, dude. Hey, let me adjust this fucking laptop. Jesus. There we go. That looks good. All right, so let's see. Hold on, let me just look at a fucking calendar here. The fucking Chop Luck is next weekend. Yeah?
Saturday,
right?
Yeah. Next Saturday.
Yeah, next Saturday. Not tomorrow. The 9th. Next Saturday, the 9th. Fucking get down there. It is December 9th in Epping, New Hampshire. Go to either one of our fucking Instagrams. Actually, I should pull it up for the people that don't have Instagram, right? What is the fucking... The address. Listen, write it down right now, you fucking son of a bitch. 232 Caliph Highway. It's CALEF Highway. 03042 Epping, New Hampshire. Come through. It's going to be from 6 until who knows when. We're doing a toy drive, so bring a fucking toy. That's unwrapped, just a toy for a child. And listen, this happens at every toy drive. Don't just bring toddler toys. I don't know if you know, but there's other families with fucking 10 years old, 12-year-old, 13-year-old kids that also don't have Christmas. You know what I mean? Toddler toys are appreciated, but try to expand it out a little bit. You know what I mean? It's going for a good cause. We're going to donate them to a church that will make sure they get to families in need. There will be door prizes. Dan has already donated a dope-ass fucking skate deck that he painted. I'm pinstriping some shit. It's going to be a potluck, so bring your favorite dish. Bring whatever the fuck you want. Bring fucking Swedish meatballs if that's what you're into. Or fucking fiery little roasted fucking wieners. Or raviolis. Or fucking chicken tendies. Whatever you want. Your favorite dish, bring it. Everybody's bringing a dish. That way we can feast like fucking kings. We'll be playing... the trashiest music on a fucking Bluetooth speaker. I promise you. We won't be taking requests, so get that out of your head right now. We're going to try to live stream an episode. So we'll get this laptop set up somewhere with a mic so people can just drop in, say what up, talk shit to you motherfuckers. It's going to be a good fucking time. Make sure you get there. December 9th, Epping, New Hampshire. The motherfucking chop luck is among us.
Yeah. There's a lot of people confirmed.
A lot of people. A lot of people come from out of
People
state
are coming
too.
from all over. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've heard there's people coming from New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, Canada. I lied about Canada, but
And there'll still
maybe.
be people in New Hampshire that don't show up for some excuse.
Well, then they'll be dead to me.
Fucking dead.
It's gonna be a good time. Everybody's coming out. Everybody's super stoked on it. So, and it's for a good cause. It's for them chitlins.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a night that you won't regret. It'll be fun. Get out of your garage. It's freezing. Nobody's riding. Come hang out with fucking like-minded pieces of shit. Shoot some dice. Listen, bring some ones. We're gonna be shooting dice. If you don't know how to shoot dice, you're gonna learn. Bring some ones. I would say a nice comfortable amount is just stop somewhere with a $20 bill and get 20 ones, and you'll be good. Yeah. You'll get to play for a long time with 20 ones.
Yeah.
Other news. I hate doing these things, but I feel like this is the thing that we should put out to help a homie out. Our dearest friend, who started out as a fucking listener of this show, by the way, and as he is one of our closest friends that still actually listens to this show. And I hear it all the time. And listen, I don't even fault any of these fucking people for it. I don't care. Don't listen to the show. But a lot of people, they get to know us and like become actual friends with us and stop listening to the show, which is fine. Do your own thing. You know what I mean? I ain't hating the player. But Fish has never done that. This dude listens every Friday, no matter what the fuck he's doing, where he is. He's just always supported everything we do, even outside the podcast. Fish's family had some devastating shit happen. His mother passed away. Super sad news, especially this close to the fucking holidays. It's terrible to fucking hear. It's just tough. And now Fish and his family need some help. So there's a GoFundMe. If you can donate anything, even $1, anything fucking helps. And I promise you, and I've seen it firsthand, if the shoe was on the other foot, Fish would be the first one to donate to help anybody out. Whether he's met you or never met you, he's just that fucking dude. So we just want to say to Fish, we love you, bro. May your mother rest in peace, and hopefully some of these fucking douche nozzles that fucking like this show will kick in and help the homie out.
Yeah, it's a tough time to be going through this during the holiday season and unexpected expenses and things like that. And he's a family man, so whatever he can give, this is the type of person you want to give it to. You know, he definitely is, deserving of that. He's one of the most solid dudes you'll ever meet. So
yeah.
Yeah, and so if you want, the link to the GoFundMe is at Fish Tank Whiskey. It's in his bio, and we're going to be pumping that out this week too. So,
it's always hard to transition out of these things. Last order of business before we jump into this show. If you guys want to support us while also being able to get some cool fucking swag for your chopper homies or your mom. I know your mom wants to wear a fuck chopper shirt. You know what I mean? Fuck bagger shirt and fucking fuck everything else and ride choppers and fuck suspension. You know your mom is trying to fucking rock that shit. So
your mom's cool.
Yeah, your mom's cool as fuck. Yeah, head on over to is it Big Cartel?
Yeah.
The Big Cartel, our fucking store. The link is in the bios. Listen, if you don't have Instagram, shoot us an email. You can hit either one of us up, either Rhino or Loctite at lowlifechopperpodcast.com. And we can get you the link for that. We have shirts up. We have however many designs I sent you before. So we have some new designs we're going to throw up. They're cool fucking Christmas gifts or just buy them for yourself. Fuck all these other fucking losers. Buy them for yourself. Buy some fucking swag. Treat yourself, bro. You don't have to buy shit for everybody else, dude. Fuck those motherfuckers. But that helps us. That helps support what we're fucking doing. Yeah. And if you want to jump on the Patreon and get that free episode every week, you can do that as well. I don't know the links for any of this shit, but if you need them, fucking hit us up. Most of it's just type in Low Life Chopper Podcast and you'll fucking find it. For everybody else,
Chopper Podcast on Google will get us everything. But in Instagram, I mean, it's just Low Life Chopper Podcast on anything you want to find. So Big Cartel, it's the same thing there as it is on, whatever. Patreon, it's Low Life Chopper Podcast. Really.
And you guys may notice this week, big news. Drum roll, please.
Oh, shit.
You may notice when this comes up that it says the Low Life Chopper Podcast has posted a motherfucking new episode.
Yeah. We finally got our name back.
We were able to get our name back, which is good because some of the people that don't have Instagram and Facebook and all that shit haven't been able to find us. They just thought we fucking died. So hopefully that it's back to the original name. They'll be able to find us again. So make sure you tell your fucking friends. Let them know. Share it out for us. Help us out. And that's it. That's all I got. I'm ready for the episode if you are.
I got one more thing. I just was thinking when you were talking about the store. When this drops, it'll be December 1st. We should just do, people really love those $20 bags, the swag bags.
Yeah.
That would be a great stocking stuffer. So let's just do, if you want to just DM us or shoot us an email, you can get yourself a $20 t-shirt, koozie, and sticker pack while supplies last through the month of December. So get them early, and I'll get them to you for Christmas, and you can stuff them in some stinky ass sock by your fucking for the low life of your life, Yeah, $20 bundles, baby.
Yo, can we get the fucking ski mask up before Christmas?
Oh fuck! Yeah, I might be able to. We might be able to.
Do they have them?
Yeah, we can get an embroidered ski mask.
I just wanted to say
that would be nice,
right across the fucking throat.
Yeah, I need one too because the snow's already starting to fly.
Yeah, I'm trying to get some of those, and I think these motherfuckers will like them too.
Yeah. We can make that happen. That's easy enough.
Yeah, I want to do 2 of them honestly. I don't know if I should say. Do I say them on here or now?
Yeah, say them on here.
Okay, so I want to do one that says "Low Life" across the throat, and then I want to do another one on the throat that says "No face, no case."
I like both those.
I think those will sell.
Yeah. I'll see what they have for options to design that, like, because I don't know how to. Those need to be embroidered, and I don't know if they have a throat option. In the design tool.
Yeah. All right, well, there you have it. There's all of our housekeeping for this week. Are you good now?
I'm good, yeah.
All right, so we're going to jump into this motherfucking episode, and Rhino and myself were thinking back and forth like we do every week. What the fuck are we going to talk about this week, dude? And I was thinking, well, it's the fucking holidays. So one, you can ask for this shit for Christmas from your significant other or your brother or your mother. You know what I mean? Ask for any of this shit. And it's wintertime. Wintertime's the best time to pick a hobby because there ain't shit else to fucking do.
Yep.
So today we're gonna go through 2 things. The 2 things that me and Rhino specialize in. What does it take and what tools do you need to start pinstriping? And what does it take and what supplies do you need to start vaporhoning? Dun, dun, dun.
Balls.
Big cojones. God. We're up to 36 degrees in case anybody want an update.
Dude,
That's
that's
not
like 2
bad.
degrees every 10 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It's going to be
I mean,
tropical in
I'm
there by the end of
sitting,
this
I'm sitting
episode.
fairly close, but anyways, you want to go first? Or you want me to?
You go first. I want to hear about this.
Oh shit, I'm not ready. All right, so listen, I've had so many people hit me up and ask me, hey, what kind of brush should I get just to try it out? Or what kind of paint should I get? What do I use for thinner? Is there certain techniques I need to know, et cetera, et cetera? That's kind of how this episode came to light. I was like, I've had so many people ask me how to get into pinstriping, and it doesn't have to be as expensive as people think. You'll
Can
see
I
all over the internet.
can I ask you real quick? Like, why did you even pick that? You know, before you even get into like what it takes to get into it, like what made you attracted to pinstriping? What was like the inception of that? Why'd you pick that of all the different things?
Yeah. So my entire life, I've wanted to be a painter, like a body guy / paint, like kind of like what Dan does. My grandfather's always done paint my whole life. He's built like fucking insane hot rods and always does all the paint, paints all his buddies' cars. And I always just thought that was like dope as fuck. And so for the longest time, I started looking into it, like trying to figure out how to do everything. But I never had the space to be able to like execute a fucking paint job. So then I fell into the world of spray paint. So then I started spray painting shit. That's what happened with the stepchild. I spray painted that entire fucking thing. I like laid tape down, did the designs, all that shit, but I used rattle can. So the only thing that made sense to me to be able to like get in to kind of what I want to be doing was pinstriping. It doesn't take up a lot of room, and you can really change like what a whole entire motorcycle looks like with pinstriping. Right. It can send your build to the next fucking level, and you don't need any room to do it. You can do it in your fucking parking lot. You can take the tank off and do it in your living room. It doesn't really smell. You know what I mean? So that was kind of like my into it. And I've just always been like an artsy kind of dude. Like I've did tattooing, and like I've always done like drawing and all that kind of shit. So I've always like been in the art. And pinstriping it was the easier, I don't want to say easier, but the more, I guess, easier way to get into doing custom paint without needing a booth and like spray guns and all that
equipment,
shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the setup, the buy-in cost to that is a lot lower, you know.
Yes. So the biggest thing is what a lot of people do every time they start thinking about they want to do pinstriping is they'll get online, and I did the same shit. I fucked up, and I just typed in pinstriping starting kit. Dumb. It's so dumb. One of the biggest ones that make one is, God, what the fuck is the name of it? Hold on, I gotta look it up because so many people buy it, dude, and it's fucking trash.
Is it like on Amazon or some shit?
No, dude. Like a lot of companies sell it, and it's fucking trash. I want to say it's something garage. This is it right here. Yeah, see, like TCP sells it.
Oh, so TCP, they're like a larger paint company too, so they just have that. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, it's called Custom Shop. So this is what it looks like. Come on, focus. That's what it looks like.
Back to the granddad screen share.
And when you look at that, that looks like you're getting a smoking deal, right? Because you're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paintbrushes. You're getting 8 paints. You're getting a reducer. You're getting brush oil. You're getting a box. You're getting fucking stirring sticks. So you're getting all this shit.
How much?
For $229.
Wow.
So in your head, you're like, oh shit, that's a fucking deal. It's not. So here's what I'm going to tell you is, especially that kit, the paint sucks. The brushes suck. The thinner sucks. All of it is fucking junk. The only thing that's good in there is the fucking the wooden stirrers. They're not even the right cups, dude. They have plastic fucking cups. They're not even the right cups. It's a junk fucking kit, and it's honestly, it takes advantage of the people that are trying to fucking get into pinstriping. It's absolute garbage.
Yeah.
For anybody that wants to actually get fucking started pinstriping, you can get into pinstriping for probably $60.
Really?
Yeah. To have a good brush that like professionals use, good paint that professionals use. So I'm gonna go through this. I made sure I had my fucking shit here. So, and here's the thing too is there's so many different kinds of painting. There's like your traditional sword, like sword brush, old school pinstriping. There's scroll work. That's like all like that fucking swirly shit with like the dagger lines and shit like that. There's sign painting. There's lettering. There's all kinds of shit. The way I was taught was with a sword brush and to do traditional old school pinstriping, like Roth type pinstriping. And the reason for that is pinstriping with a sword brush is the hardest way to fucking pinstripe because it's good for pulling nice, strong, like long fucking lines. But every time you have to fucking like pull what's it called? Like a curve, you got to roll that brush in your fingers. Oh. So once you can do that with a sword brush, now you can do that with a letter brush, a scroll brush, a fucking like fine detail brush. You learn everything from starting from the original fucking OG pinstriping shit.
What's the if you're just starting out, what's the first one that you buy? Is it like a Mac 00 or?
Yeah, so I'm gonna show it here. So my first ever brush is right here. And see, hold on. So that's my first ever brush. And that's a Mac 000. And this is what they call a green wrap. You can see the wrap at the bottom is green. Now, these aren't like ideal to begin on. I think they say the blue wrap is better, honestly. I think the green wrap is for like bodywork guys. They use it a lot for touch-up shit. But I like the green wrap, honestly. I think it flows nice from me.
What's the zero? What's the zeros stand for? Because they got 0, 00.
Yeah,
it's
like a big difference. So this one, for instance, this is a brand new one. This is the Excalibur 000 from Mac. So you can see that. You can see the hairs on that one.
Yeah.
Now, so that's a 000. This is a Mac 00.
Is it longer? The hairs are
so
longer?
So if you look,
it is longer.
That's the difference.
So it's the length, not the
girth.
The
higher the numbers, the thicker this is going to be, the longer this is going to be. It's going to hold more fucking paint. I prefer the 000s just because you can do really nice fine lines, but you can also, the more you push down, the fatter your line gets. So you can really do a lot with the 000. So for anytime somebody asks me, I always tell them, you want to get a Mac, first of all. It's what it is. Mac is it's the best brush. They haven't been in business this fucking long for no reason. You know what I mean? So the first brush I always tell everybody, just grab one of these. It doesn't matter which Mac brush. You can get just get a Mac 000. You can get the green wrap, the blue wrap. You can get King 13s. There's 100 different fucking brushes. But if you want to use the same exact one I got, It's just the Mac Excalibur 000. And it's a great fucking brush. It's forgiving. It's a good brush to get started with. And with that, you're looking at, I haven't bought a new brush in a little bit now. But you're looking at usually right around like 20 something bucks. I know it sounds like a lot, but if you take care of your shit, you'll have that brush for a long fucking time. All you have to do is make sure you're cleaning them right, make sure you oil them when you put them away, and you'll be good to go.
The other thing about the brushes for beginners that was confusing to me was like you see a lot of videos and conversation about trimming brushes like before you even use them. So
yeah, so you'll see. I don't know if I'll be able to show you. I don't know if you'll be able to pick it up on here. So you can see with this one. This is a brand new one. I haven't trimmed this or anything. But if you look at the very bottom, see how the hairs are different sizes right there?
Mm-hmm.
So what they're saying is you trim this just so slightly, and you literally, people always fuck this up, dude. That's why a lot of brushes, you can get a lot of brushes that don't need to be trimmed. I think Von Dago, I don't think any of his brushes have to be trimmed usually. But when you're trimming these, you're not like taking a fucking pair of scissors and cutting this. You're putting this on a piece of white paper, and you'll see there'll be like 1 or 2 hairs that are just long enough, like longer than the rest of them. And you're just going to take this razor blade and push down on it. And that's it. Okay. And just take that little piece of hair off. A lot of guys will try to cut this, but once you cut that, you fuck up this. You can see how the top of this is straight and the bottom it like bows down. That's called the belly of the brush. So if you fuck up the belly of that brush, every time you try to pull a line, it's going to be fucking shit.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, like when I first got mine, I was like, oh, you have to shape it. Like it didn't come with that shape or something. But it's like, no, it should be pretty spot on. So you're just, if there's any imperfections, you might not even need to trim it.
Mm-hmm. And you'll be able to tell when you start pulling them. It'll be tough when you first start because your lines aren't going to be great anyways. But you can really tell once you can start pulling nice lines, you'll be pulling your line and there'll just be like one squiggly paint mark off to the side. And that'll tell you like, okay, these hairs are not fucking right. So here's the next biggest thing is if you see on here, the green wrap right here goes all the way to the top. If you look on this side, there's a little piece of wood showing at the top of it.
Oh.
So that little piece of wood, that tells you that goes to your thumb side every time. So once that wood's on your thumb side, now you know you have your brush the right way. So many people don't fucking know that. And they'll be pinstriping upside down. You'll be pinstriping the wrong fucking way. So you're not going to get good lines. It's not going to hold the right fucking paint. Nothing's going to work for you. So you keep this little wooden, and you'll see it. As soon as you get the brush, you may not be able to see it on this video. When you get the brush, one side, the wrap goes all the way to the top. One side, you can see a little piece of wood. That little piece of wood stays on your thumb side. Now, I don't want to get like too far into like how you hold the brush on that because people will all hold the brush fucking differently. The way I hold my brush, I like to be right on top of that green wrap. So you can see right as the green wrap starts, that's where I like to be. It gives me the best for turning. It gives me all that bullshit. Don't go crazy and just buy a bunch of fucking brushes because you're going to fuck this brush up because you're going to suck at cleaning it. You're going to be fucking not thinning your paint right. So every time you're loading your brush, you're going to be pulling fucking bristles out of it. And that's all shit that you'll learn. The hardest thing that I learned with pinstriping was how to get the paint thinned correctly. That's the hardest fucking part. It's so fucking tough. And there's not a measurement. It's not like add this much to the paint to get it to pull right. It's all, you have to feel it while you're loading up that brush. And it takes a long fucking time to do it, man. But that's the biggest battle. So I've been pinstriping for a while now. So I have a bunch of different brushes. So this is my go-to brush though. But like, this is what I'm rocking like most of the time. I have a bunch of different brushes and they all do different shit. Hold on one second. I dropped one.
Yeah, actually, you gave me some advice on, and I don't know if it maybe it would help someone, but like with the thinning of the paint, you had
Yep.
suggested lay down a magazine and pull it and thin it out until the magazine uh, paper doesn't move, and then you know that you're like pulling smooth.
Yeah. So what I did, and this is how I was taught from my mentor, is if you go to Walmart, they have these tiny little clipboards. They're about this big. They're fucking tiny. I get one of those. They're cheap, like $2. Use so that's the other thing too is when you thin your paint, it's got to be on like a magazine type material. You can't use like regular paint. I mean like regular paper.
Paper because
So it
it's
has to be like a
absorbent.
glossy,
Yeah.
right? It has to be like a glossy paper, which is great because everybody has magazine subscriptions they don't fucking care about, and just tell your friends like, hey, when you're done with that mag, just drop it off at my house.
Hmm.
So that's how I get all my fucking shit that I use. But anyway, so I got that small clipboard, and then if you go to any kind of like Michael's or any kind of craft store, they sell these little metal cups. They're like that big, and it has a clip on it, so it'll clip right onto your fucking clipboard. And with that, I put my reducer in that,
Oh shit.
and I'll use that. So if my paint starts getting dry, I dip my brush in that and then stroke that into my paint. Because you don't want to just be dumping reducer into the fucking on the paper. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so what I do is with that clipboard, I was taught, and it's legit. Once that clipboard is on the table and you have your paint on there, you just keep reducing that little by little. And when you dip your brush in, I'm talking about you dip just the tip of that fucking brush into your reducer and then bring that into the paint. Start working that into the paint. And once you start doing that and the clipboard has like the slightest bit of drag where it's moving the clipboard, add a little bit more. And then once it just stops moving that clipboard, that is the perfect consistency for your fucking paint. It will pull like
Hmm.
butter. It won't be sloppy where it's like spreading when you're pulling it. It pulls so fucking nice. Um, so like I said, my
That's
go-to
good too.
is the Excalibur 000. And then I found this brush from Von Dago. Anybody that does pinstriping has heard of this dude. This is the Pro Series 000. But the thing that's different about this one is this entire handle is wrapped in like a plastic or like whatever the fuck it is. So you can tell the difference. It's not just a black handle. So here's the biggest thing though. See how this is just a complete, like, it's a round dowel? This one has a thumb. See how it has a chunk missing out of it?
Hmm.
Yeah, let me do it like that.
Yeah.
So your thumb rests in here. In this, for me, because I can put my thumb in there, I can put a little bit more pressure on the side, and that helps me pull such nicer
Hmm.
fucking long lines. When I first got it, it was a little bit harder to like do any kind of like curves or corners or anything like that, because now that you have that dimple in
Roll.
there, you still have to roll this brush. So it
Yeah.
makes it a little bit tougher, but I've been using this the Pro Series brushes for I think 2 years, and now
Hmm.
I can do anything that I can do with my Excalibur with this brush now.
What's the
So
price
highly
on? What's the price
recommend.
point on that one?
I think it's like $20.
Oh, so they're around the
Usually, going to be
same.
right around $20 for like a sword brush.
Okay.
Um, but like I said in the beginning, listen, you could talk to 100 different pinstripers, and they're all going to tell you different shit. But the principles are the same. You know what I mean? But some guys are going to tell you, oh, you don't have to start with traditional or a sword brush. You can get right into scroll work. Yeah, you can. But here's the thing is, and I'm not discrediting anybody that does any kind of painting. Scroll work is easier than using a sword brush. So on scroll work, and this is my fucking go-to scroll brush. I recommend this to everybody. This is the Bobo. So you can see the difference on these brushes. They don't even look the fucking same.
Yeah. Long and
So
thin.
because these are just long fucking thin brushes, you literally hold this thing and you're just going like this. You can bring this fucking anywhere you want as long as you keep that tip on the bottom. You'll make all the fucking circles, any fucking design you want. The problem is, if you only ever learn on this, if you ever try to do something different, you don't know how to do it because you only know how to use a fucking sword brush. I mean, a scroll brush. With using and learning on a sword brush, it teaches you the fundamentals of how to roll a brush in your hand. You know what I mean? It teaches you the fundamentals of how to pull long, straight lines. And with pulling long, straight lines, that makes it where you're concentrating more. You're working on the stability of your hand. You're not going to do that when you're just whipping the brush around like this. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm not saying
that's like a consistent, like the Bobos, it's going to keep a consistent, like, because it's so thin. You basically, when you put it down, it's curved, and that's about as thick as the line's going to get. Whereas with the sword brush, you can have variations depending on the pressure.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
you can variate with a scroll brush.
You can. Okay.
It's a little bit tougher, but you can definitely do it. Like that's what a lot of guys will do is they'll start and they'll like do like one of these, and you'll see like one small circle, and then a circle gets bigger, and then they press down real hard, and like they'll make like that dagger kick out.
Oh, okay.
And so that's the other thing too. That's one of the harder things to learn is the pressure on the actual bristles themselves. Because a lot of people just want to come on and just push this thing all the way down like this and then start pulling. But when you do that, you have the fattest fucking lines.
Yeah.
And you don't have any control of the brush. So there's a lot of shit to learn. I don't want to give like a whole lesson on how to do all that shit right now. But the way to go is to just get one of these brushes. And again, you can get the Excalibur, 000, or people call them the green wraps. You can get blue wraps. As long as it's a MAC 000 pinstripe brush, you're going to be all right. It's going to be hard. It takes a lot of fucking time to get even decent at pinstriping. There's guys that go 5 years and are still not great. It takes a long fucking time and dedication to get even decent at it. But I will say, if you put in the fucking time, it happens. You will get good at it. A lot of people do it for 2 weeks and they're like, fuck this, and they quit. But it's just fucking hard. But when you're done, it's cool as fuck. So anyways, so to get started, either go get a MAC 000, which is this, or you can go to vondago.com and you can get the Vondago Pro Series 000. This is also another great brush. This may be a great brush to learn with because you get that nice fucking spot to rest your hand. And I don't know, it may be easier to learn with this brush because you're not going to be trying to do a bunch of curves and all that shit at first. Maybe get one of these and just learn how to like pull those nice long lines or whatever. A lot of people say you got to do this thing. I don't even know why people fucking say this. I mean, I guess I do, but I don't know. I didn't do it. They say that you should pull 1,000 straight lines, 1,000 S curves, and 1,000 S curves the opposite way, and then 1,000 C curves and 1,000 C curves the other way.
Yeah.
And they say that'll build up the muscle memory and all that shit. I'm not saying that won't fucking help. I just didn't do that. I pulled lines on a piece of
as fuck.
Yeah. Dude, I pulled lines on a piece of plexiglass. I don't know, for probably 2 weeks. And I was like, I'm done doing this. I don't want to fucking do this anymore. So again, that's another good thing too, is when you're starting out, get a piece of plexiglass, practice on that every night. I practiced every night, 2 hours a night for a year straight. And if you use plexiglass, you paint on that plexiglass at the end of the night, wipe it clean and put it away. Now you're not scavenging for shit to pinstripe every fucking day. Just use the same piece of plexiglass forever. What a lot of guys do, they'll put like one of those like those grids behind it. That way they have a line to follow.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That's not a terrible idea. So you can do that. So get one of these brushes. You want a 000 sword brush. So just type in MAC 000 or Vondago 000. grab one of those brushes. The next thing you're going to need is a paint thinner. Now, you go to any fucking Home Depot, Lowe's, fucking Aubercon, anywhere, and you're just going to get this. Odorless mineral spirits. Now, people are going to say, oh, you should get this and get... You don't fucking have to get any of that shit. Get this. It fucking works great. It doesn't dull the paint like they say it does and all that bullshit. That's what everybody fucking uses. Just use it.
Yeah. And you can use it for all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
It's good to have a can of that. Right? I used it today, actually.
Right. So that's all I use. I use that to thin my paint. I use that to clean my brushes, all that shit. The next thing you're going to need is paint. You can go either way. Go one shot, go alpha, enamel, whatever the fuck you want to do. I use alpha, and I also use MAC. Not MAC, one shot. Some of one shot shit I just like better. Like their red, I love that. It's just a nice fucking deep red. But alpha, the alpha enamel, I love that they come in these kind of bottles. They have the top on them. So you can just fucking squirt it right out of the bottle. One shot still uses cans. So you got to pry the can open every time, mix it all up with a fucking thing. You don't have to do these. These have fucking bearings inside of them, little marbles. So whenever you want to use this, you just take this, shake it up. That ball gets kicking around, mixes your paint up for you. You dump it out, and then fucking you start painting. That's the main reason I switched over to alpha enamel, because I was taking on my MAC. I mean, why do I keep saying that? On my one shot, and I was buying these bottles on Amazon, buying metal bearings on Amazon, buying my one shot, dumping them into these containers, putting the marbles in, and then I could fucking paint. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a pain in the ass. So that's what originally made me switch to alpha enamel. And honestly, I like it. They have a lot of nice colors. Like their bright colors like this, like their teals and their pinks and all that shit are super fucking nice. So I would don't know. If you're starting out, I would just...
what's your color starting kit? Like, because they're like, they're not cheap. The paint's not cheap. So like if you're just starting out, do you want to
I would say get one color.
Just like
get one color, because you're just going to waste it. So here's the other thing. Don't get black, don't get white. They're the two hardest colors to pinstripe with.
Really?
I always say just get red. It's traditional. And that's, I don't know. I love red. The traditional red is just, you can't go wrong with that. You're going to use it. I have probably fucking 6 cans of one shot red in my box at all times, because it's one of my most used colors. And red pulls really nice. But if you're like just starting out, I recommend just grabbing something from alpha enamel, because it's easy. You don't have to fucking pop the lid every time. It's just here. Shake it up. You know you're getting a good mixture once you hear that marble, and then dump it on the fucking paper. So just grab some of this. This is the bigger bottle. You can get the smaller bottles for like $20. I think these are 30 because these are the bigger ones. So now you have paint, you have your thinner, you have your brush, you have your clipboard, you have your magazines. You're ready to fucking paint. You can start doing shit at that point. The other thing too is a lot of guys, this is like one of the fucking most controversial shits in pinstriping, is what oil to use on your brush. Some guys are like, you got to use fucking fat from an animal burned down and melted, because nobody uses it. There's no squirrels running around fucking putting motor oil in their fucking fur and blah, blah, blah. So if you didn't know, real pinstripe brushes are made with squirrel fur, squirrel hair, whatever you want to call it. So you got to keep it conditioned. If you don't, they dry up, they fray, they get fucking shitty, and they break. I use 10W30 motor oil. Done. It's cheap. It lasts fucking forever. And it works great. I haven't seen it beat up any of my brushes. I've been doing it for I don't even know how long now, 3 years. And haven't had any issues. 10W30 motor oil. Don't get synthetic. You don't need all that shit. Just get 10W30 oil, and you're fucking good to go. Now, after you do all your painting and shit, wipe your board clean. Put that shit away. You're going to take this, and you're going to have, I just keep like a little mason jar with mineral spirits in it. I take my brush, I put it in the top of it, and I just swish it around. And then here's the biggest thing people do is when you take a paper towel, People always just want to start here and then pull the paper towel. You can't fucking do that because you're pulling all the hairs out. It's more of like a press. So you're like pressing, 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 pressing all the way down. Now you just got a lot of the paint out. You're going to stick it back inside that mason jar. Shake the fuck out of it again. Paper towel. And you have to get all the way up to the wrap because you'll get all that paint jammed inside there and shit. You don't want that. If you look at this, there's zero paint trapped inside that thing. You got to clean your brushes good if you want them to last. So, like I said, I've already done this once. I patted it once. Now I'm going back in here, shaking it again, patting it again. Now it'll look almost fucking brand new again. I go again. Boom. Third time. Shaking the fuck out of that thing, patting it all the way down with a paper towel going all the way down. After you're done, dip it in your motor oil, shake it around. You'll see all these bristles will start opening up. You want to get all that oil in the wraps, and then you put it down. Now, I put them in my cases just because I travel a lot. I do like shows and shit. So it's easy to just have them in these cases because I can just take them on the go. You don't need these cases. I've seen guys put them in cigar boxes. I've seen them put them in the top of toolboxes. As long as it's the clean surface you're putting in it and it's oiled, you're fucking good to go. So the other thing too is I always store mine this way with that little wooden nub that I told you is on the top. Have that up because now your bristles can lay flat. If you have it this way, see how it's not going to be flat this way.
Through, man.
Got it. Yeah, so you're gonna get a droop in your brush, and if you don't pinstripe every day, that droop will stay there. You'll pull your fucking brush out, and this bitch will be like this. You know what I mean? If you try to pinstripe with something like that, you're gonna be fucking pissed. So I just always go like this. I get my bristles nice and flat, and then I lay it with that wooden peg sticking up. That way it lays nice and flat in the box.
Yeah, no hook cock.
It's just little things like that, and like that's just all shit that you just learn over time because you're gonna fuck shit up. It wouldn't make sense if you could just buy this shit and then come out of the gate and be the next Hot Rod Jen fucking pinstriping at fucking shows. Because if that was the case, Hot Rod Jen wouldn't be as cool as she is. You know what I mean? Yeah. It takes a lot of work and you fuck up a lot. But it just is what it is. That's how you get good at it. That's how life is.
Yeah, that's how you get good at anything.
And the thing, like I said, it's not expensive to get into pinstriping. People always just go way overboard. People want to buy everything. Yeah. You don't need everything. You don't know how to do everything yet.
Yeah.
Just buy the one sword brush, the fucking mineral spirits, the paint, and some fucking motor oil. And you're good to go. You're off to the fucking races.
Yeah, you should already have the motor oil in your garage. So you were talking about
exactly.
Like you could really get into this for like almost like around $100.
Yeah. You could start pinstriping $100 or less.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And now it all depends on like this is where I think everybody should start. And again, that's just the way I was taught. The guy that taught me is Stitch. You can go follow him on Instagram. I think it's Stitch's Garage. He's phenomenal. He's an old school, traditional fucking pinstriper. He does phenomenal fucking work. So that's the way I learned. I learned doing that old school traditional work. And I can tell you from doing that, it made everything else easier for me. Now when I paint letters, it's easier because I know how to spin that brush already. When I do caricatures, like when I did that rat fink on the oil can, it's easier because I already know how to spin the fucking brush. Once you start getting to that shit, it starts getting a little bit more expensive because now you have to buy a lot more brushes. So you can see. So these are your normal. Here, let me put it like this so I don't fuck it up. So these are your normal pinstriping brushes. These are what your sword brushes are. This next row here, these are scrolling brushes. These three here, these are all different sizes. This one right here is a signature brush. I bought it because I got a really good deal on it. I have never fucking used it. And then all these ones up here, you can see these are all like different lengths. They look like scroll brushes, but they're not. So those different lengths give you different lines for doing detail. So that helps you when you're doing stuff like caricatures and stuff where you like need those tiny little lines. You know what I mean? To put like a crack in something or like like a small little dot for a glow of light or something like that. That's where shit starts getting a little bit more expensive because you got to buy all those different brushes. And then if you get into lettering, then you're getting in a whole different set of fucking brushes. Um, so it's a lot, depending on what you're trying to fucking do. And that's why I always tell people, don't just, if you've been pinstriping for a week and you got all these brushes, you're a fucking idiot. Because here's what you're going to do is you're going to keep trying to do a little bit of everything and never be good at anything. And that's why I stuck to just doing traditional pinstriping for the first 2 years. I didn't do anything else. This year, I started getting into doing more of like the lettering stuff, doing more like picture stuff, rat finks and fucking like old school, like traditional fucking artwork, like Sailor Jerry shit. And honestly, man, I love doing that shit. I almost love doing that shit more than traditional pinstriping now. But I wouldn't have been able to do that shit if I didn't know how to use the brush. You know what I mean? So that's why I think it's important.
Like the basic. That's the basic brush, and you can do most of whatever, like, because there's going to be elements of that using that brush in sign painting. You can do scroll work with it. You can do like rat finks and like cartoon shit with it. So it kind of covers the most ground, and it sounds like it's hard. So once you get good at that, the other stuff is just the technique. Once you get the technique down, then tool up, and then it just gets easier.
Exactly. Yeah. And I just realized now is everybody doesn't watch this on YouTube. So a lot of that shit just didn't make sense to you. So for all you audio listeners, listen, here's where you can take notes if you want to get into it. If you want to start the same way I did, you're going to get a MAC 000 pinstripe brush. It's called the sword brush. You're going to go to alphanamel.com, or it's like alpha 6 or some shit like that.com. Just type in alpha enamel and it'll come up. Pick a fucking paint that you want. I recommend don't do black or white. Black is super thick. White is usually super watery. Both really hard to fucking get the right consistency to pull lines unless you know what you're doing. I recommend going to red. It usually pulls the best. After that, you want to get some odorless mineral spirits. Get it at any hardware store. Literally any hardware store. It's cheap. It's like $10. Get a piece of plexiglass. You can also get that while you're at the hardware store for like $10. You can pinstripe on all that. Pinstripe the fuck out of that thing and just wipe it off with the mineral spirits at the end of the night or glass cleaner or whatever. That paint will still be wet. It'll come right off. Now you have an infinity fucking platform to pinstripe on. Go to Walmart, buy a little clipboard. They're fucking tiny. They're probably 8 inches by 6 inches, something like that. That's what you're going to put your magazine paper on. You fold it in half, put it in the clipboard. That's what you're going to put all your paint on. That's how you're going to fucking load your brush up, all that stuff. Go to any art supply store. You'll see them. I think they're called paint cups. They're metal and they clip on. They have like a clip on the back. You can clip that right on. I put my fucking reducer, the mineral spirits, right in that. And so I'll put one mineral spirits and then mineral spirits in the other one. One I use to reduce with, and the other one I'll use to clean a brush if I have to. That's all you need to start. If you're a fucking stubborn son of a bitch and you're like, I don't want to fucking use a sword brush because it's way too hard for my vagina, and you just want to go straight to scroll work, get a Bobo brush. Bobo 000, Bobo 00, whatever one you want. 000 is a little bit easier to learn on. You can get that there. Or you can get a scroll brush at vondago.com. His are synthetic brushes, and Bobo's are real squirrel hair. I gravitate towards the real squirrel hair brushes. The synthetic brushes have a little bit too much bounce that I just don't like them. I still use some of Vondago stuff for some of the stuff I use, but I really like the Bobo brush because it's realistic hair. If you're going to just start painting rat finks because you're a fucking pro, this one, fuck, I don't remember what this set's called. It's from Mac. It's the Dragonfly set. So this will give you pretty much every fucking size, like detail brush. It's kind of expensive. I think it's like $60 or something like that. You can get those there. That'll help you do all your fine work shit. If you're gonna like, I just want to do fucking lettering. Okay, cool. Go to Blick, and these ones are called Master Stroke Eclipse. Actually, homeboy, fucking Quality Handmade is the one who turned me on to this. He is the fucking sign painting fucking letter pro. If you have any questions, hit him up because he knows everything about that shit. But he turned me on to getting my letter brushes from Blick. Those are great lettering brushes. I love them. So that's a rundown for all you audio listeners. That's all you need to pinstripe. If you have any questions, if I can help at all, if you just can't figure out how to get the brush loaded correctly or how to thin it, or if you forgot some shit that I said in this fucking episode, hit me up, Loctite's Chop Shop on Instagram, or just Loctite at lowlifechopperpodcast.com with whatever question. I'll try to help as best as I can. That's one good thing about pinstriping is most of the people in the pinstriping community are an open book. If you show them that you have the drive, they'll tell you whatever you want. They'll teach you whatever you want. Yeah. But here, I also want to say this, is don't think it's just a gimme. Like, you got to work for it, and don't waste those people's time. They've already put in the time. If you're not going to be serious about it, don't waste their fucking time. And with that, I say everybody should try pinstriping at least one time. It's a lot of fucking fun. And like I said, $100 or less, you can get into pinstriping. God, that was a lot of talking, bro.
That was a lot, dude. Bravo. But
I don't think I've ever gone as in depth on this show about pinstriping.
That's people like that though. People like the tech stuff when we get into it. But pinstriping too, just because I dabble in it. You know, I painted a helmet.
Do you have any questions that I didn't cover since you've actually done it?
No, I think like you helped me out a lot. Like when I was, I was one of those guys. I got like, I started off. I got like two colors. I got black and white, and then I got the Mac 00. And I couldn't. I wanted to use it to do some cartoon shit because I wanted to paint my little rhino on my helmet, and I also needed to do pinstriping on the flames on my shovel head. And it was clutch, dude. I went from that. I did go from that 00 to the Bobo, and it made all the difference for the flames. I mean, that was just like, that was a huge help because I just didn't have the skill set at the time to be able to do it. So if you're looking to just like edge out some flames or whatever, go right for the Bobo. But the other thing is, you don't have to be a pinstriper. You should have those brushes, and you should have that paint. Because, I mean, I used it today. I was just, I used it for lettering on a vise that I restored, It's just great paint to use for those applications and those brushes. I used a little Bobo, and it got right in. It was a recessed letter, and the little tiny tip just went right in there, and they're like, So it's good to have a couple cans anyways. I think I have,
and here's what I'll say too, 4 or 5 colors. With this paint, you want to store it cap side down, just like this. Now, the reason you do that because all paint will get like that fucking layer on the top of it. At some point, it will. I'm not saying it happens overnight, but it'll get like that little slick on the top. You'd rather that slick be here than here. You know what I mean? Because now you're not going to be able to fucking pour it. You leave it here, now you have a much bigger fucking slick. You know what I mean? So you just want it here. It's at the bottom, where there's fucking usually no goddamn paint, and it's no problem. So always store your bottles upside down like this. Yeah.
Yeah, you have a little rack that you made. You just drilled a bunch of holes in it?
I actually just made that. Yeah.
No, it was pretty slick.
Yeah, so I took a piece of AZEK. It's like a synthetic board. I think it's PVC maybe. And took a 1-inch paddle bit and just drilled a bunch of holes going down. And that fits these caps perfectly. So you can sit them right inside, and they just sit right on a rack. And I just bolted that to the wall.
No shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it keeps it, I mean, it looks nice and organized.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot better than them just falling all over my fucking pinstripe table.
Yeah, I had mine actually. I got my pinstriping stuff down today, and it was like on the shelf I don't access, and like all my brushes are falling in my face and shit.
Yeah.
It was a pain in
So
the
I
ass.
always
Then I
tell
had,
people, if you go to any kind of swap meets, yard sales, anything like that, you'll always find those little metal craftsman toolboxes.
mm,
Those things are the best for pinstripe boxes.
yeah,
And it's funny because I have like noticed from when I started, I had a little fucking craftsman box like this big, and it had all my shit in it. And then after 6 months, I had one fucking this big, and then this big, and then this big, and
mm,
now I have one that like it accordions out, and it has drawers going all the way up each side, then the whole bottom. Um, so you'll keep graduating through boxes, but that's the best way to keep your shit organized. Just get one of those metal craftsman boxes. You can get them for like $5 at any swap meet, and they work great. They're great to lay your brushes in, all that shit.
yeah, yeah. And then you can just pack it up and put it. Especially if you're like me, like I don't use it all the time. It would be good.
Right.
It would be nice to have just like a little thing. This is my paint. Bring it over to the workbench that you're going to be working at. Get set up.
Yep.
Love it.
That went a lot longer than I thought. That's an hour of pinstripe talk. God damn.
Yeah. So I guess we will segue into vapor honing. Oh, I gotta take a sip of this Modelo because I don't know if I can. I have enough as much wind as you do.
I was just talking a lot so I could stay warm.
What's the
Oh,
temp?
update. We're at 42 degrees.
Damn, dude,
So we've gone up 10 degrees in an hour.
it's probably 42 degrees in Virginia right now. That's comfy. Wait, do you got hot coffee or is that iced coffee?
This is hot.
Okay, yeah,
Look at my daughter drew this, and then the school like made them into stickers.
dude, that's dope.
So I put it on my coffee mug. She loves it.
That's fucking sick. All right, vapor honing time.
Yeah. So yeah, bring us into the same thing. Why you decided to do vapor honing?
Yeah.
And then just walk us through like the first vapor honing machine you made to the one that you could fit a whole car in to back down to downsizing.
Yeah.
Because I think
so-
when people think about it, they're like, not a chance I could ever have a vapor honer.
Yeah, dude, I get a lot of questions, and I've actually helped a couple people out start like small businesses. But I get a lot of questions about vapor honing, and whenever anybody comes by the shop, they're like, "How does this work?" And I'm like, "Oh, you should listen to my old episodes of the Life Chopper podcast." But
Yeah.
so I got into it because I'm the type of personality that like when I see something I like, I dive in like face first, like everything,
Yeah.
all my being.
Same.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
when I was like 16, I wanted to be in a band, play a guitar, and I'm just like, I'm the guitar guy now, and I buy a guitar and I buy all this stuff, and I like, start playing, or like karate, like I just, but those things, like if I'm not interested in them, I go 100%, and then 2 weeks later, I'm just like, fuck that, and I'm on to the next thing,
Yeah.
So with vapor honing, I saw it probably somewhere on like Instagram, someone like fucking like vapor
I
honing
remember,
something.
was it like Hughes? Was it Hughes that was doing it? Like, I think he was the first person I ever seen doing it.
It was an XS guy. I think it was Pandemonium.
No,
Pandemonium
I thought it was
Cycles?
Hughes, wasn't it? Isn't he the XS guy that was doing it?
There's an XS guy that does like full sick ass XS 650 rebuilds on the regular.
Yeah. I thought it was Hughes hand built or some shit like that, or some shit like that.
I don't think it's Hughes. It's like but it's an OG dude like that like an OG dude from the forums.
Yeah, because the guy, I think we're thinking about the same guy, because the guy that I'm thinking about, he was an XS guy.
Yeah, and he still is, and he vapor hones these. He brings them back. He tears them all apart and vapor hones them, times them. Like, he has the whole thing, and that's just like what he does, and he does it like better than anybody. But I think I want to say it's Pandemonium 93 or some shit like that on Instagram. But yeah, he's like an old hat from from the forums and shit. He's been doing it for a long time. So I probably saw that and I was like, how the fuck do you get an old ass like 70s motor to look brand fucking new?
Yeah.
So I just started looking into it and it's like, oh, vapor honing, like what is this? And it's actually been around for a long time. Not here in America, like most of like through the industrial age, most people use sandblasters.
Yeah.
But sandblasters are really bad for your health, especially on like an industrial level, because
Really?
the silica,
Oh shit! I didn't even think of that.
it'll fucking kill you quick, dude. Like you get all
Yeah,
sorts of
silica's bad.
yeah. So in Europe, it's been huge because those European countries, like after World War II and shit, they just banned the use of sandblasting, so they had to find an alternative. So it hasn't actually gotten big in America until pretty recently, and there's a couple of companies that picked it up. One of the big ones is Vaporhoning Technologies, VHT. So, anyways, I just like started researching it, and I'm I'm poor, so I was like, oh, these fucking machines are expensive. I mean,
But hold on,
entry
wait.
and
Why were you like? I don't want to do sandblasting. I want to do vapor honing. Just because like you
so
heard this about this dude doing it.
no, so I saw it and like I've never been like super mechanically inclined. Like I can't like go into a car like Fat Man or you and just be like, "Oh, that doesn't sound right." Like cuz I'm kind of new to the whole like
Right. Yeah.
new
Yeah.
like in my life, like in the last 10 years when I got into it. I had to learn in my like 30s how to like fucking work on motorcycles and pick up skills like TIG welding and shit. So like it's not like a natural thing for me. And I work really hard to like get good at the things that I try to do, like I do a ton of research and I fail an awful lot. But like with vapor honing, I saw that and I was just like, that's really interesting. And you start reading up on it and you're like, oh, that's a really cool way to like restore things. And for me, since I'm not like super mechanically inclined, when I was building motorcycles, I could definitely do the restoration stuff. Like I was like, oh, well, if you want your fucking cases not to look like dog shit, how do you make them look nice? So I could take an old motorcycle and make it look nice. So that was kind of like my wheelhouse, like I can I don't have the fabrication skills necessarily. I don't have like some dudes can build a whole frame and it's just like old hat to them, or
Yep.
guys whose minds are like Christian Newman. They just like fucking they're like fucking Nikola Tesla or some shit. So I'm like, oh well, maybe I could be good at like restoring things. Plus, I think like I get hooked on those like restoration channels and shit. When you see someone like restore a vice or restore like an old sword or something, like I watch that
Yeah.
shit all day. It's just so interesting to me, and it's really like for me, I love bringing old stuff back to life. Like that's why I like old motorcycles. You bring them back to life and you make them better and you make them cooler. And so the restoration thing for me, I was like, oh, well, I could do, and it's very heavily focused in the motorcycle industry because the aluminum parts, right? Like there's so much
Right.
aluminum within on a motorcycle engine. Um, so I was like, and especially like carbs and stuff like that. So I just started researching it and I'm like, I want to get into this, but I don't have any money, like in entry level for like a decent machine at like VHT, you're talking like three fucking grand. And I don't have 3 grand lying around for a fucking, hobby for like that I'm not like super passionate about. But they did offer what was called a micro hone. It was like $700 at the time. And it was a little plastic box, a little blue plastic box. And I saved my pennies up and I got that. And I started vapor honing shit that I had around the garage. I think I had an XS 650 at the time. So anything that I had, I just start experimenting on. And you found out that like there's like for instance, when I first started, I took a carburetor and I just vapor honed the outside of it, and then like I opened it up and it was just like full of media, and I was like, oh fuck. So you like learn trial and error. Like there's certain things you can't do, you know. And I've been asked to vapor hone an engine like 100 times. Like someone thinks they can just drop off an engine, like you can just vapor hone the outside and it's perfect. Water gets fucking everywhere, right? Like there's no way these engines, they're pretty good, but like especially old engines and shit, it's gonna find its way in there. Like if you have a leak, you know, like rain, it will on your roof. If you have a shitty roof, it's gonna find the fucking way into your house. You know, like water just finds a way. Um, so I got this little VHT and I just started fucking around on my own shit and starting to get the hang of it. And it's really, I guess, if you don't know what a vapor honer is, it is essentially a sandblaster, but the sand is mixed with water. And you can use any kind of media that you want, but that vapor honing finish that everybody loves, that's done with glass bead. Um, and that's going to be probably like 99% of what you see on the internet that people are like, hey, look at this. Because if you blast with like, I mean, you can blast with sand too. Like some people blast with sand and water, but um, most everybody that does it, they do it for the finish. And you can only, it's super, it's a super nice finish because it doesn't, it's super gentle and it's primarily for aluminum too. I'll just say that right now. Is over the years I've done steel, I've done chrome, I've done all sorts of different types of metals and shit. And now I really only do like aluminum carburetors or engine components, cases, things like that. And that's
Yeah.
really where it really shines because it doesn't damage the aluminum, it doesn't heat it up, it doesn't warp it. You can, like for instance, you can blast the gasket surface and you can blast the gasket off and not fuck up the surface at all. There'll be no dings, there'll be no chips, there'll be nothing. It'll be like perfectly renewed. And it's great for like carburetors because the water flows through all those little passages. And the glass bead media that you use is really, really fine. Like think of the finest like sand through an hourglass. It's finer than that, you know. It's like if you throw it up in the air, it just floats there, you know. Um, so yeah, I started with the little vapor honer, and I pretty much figured out immediately that I was going to need to do a way bigger unit if I wanted to do motorcycle parts because you couldn't. I mean, I think it's like 12 by 12 inside that box. And I was like, all right, so I can do carburetors, but I can't do rims, I can't do engine cases, you know, I can't do any of the cool shit. Um, and it's a piece of shit. It's a plastic piece of shit that cost $800. It broke within like 3 weeks. I had to fix it on my own. Like there's not like these vapor honing companies. They're not big business. You know what I mean? Like they're really
Right.
niche. So they're not trying to like spend a bunch of money on fucking service parts. So my number one thing I would tell everybody is if you're remotely handy, you should definitely build one. You should not buy one. It's a waste of fucking money. The parts they use are absolute shit. And then you can service it yourself. So I actually shout out again just to Fish Tank Whiskey. He was my first customer. I just threw something up on Instagram like, "Hey, I'll vapor hone. I ran out of parts in my garage. You know, I'll vapor hone stuff for free." And he brought over a starter, and I was like, "I don't know if this is gonna work, you know, but we can try it." And it ended up working. I was super fucking I was super nervous though because it was the first like person's shit that wasn't my own, and it was an
Mm.
electrical component, and I was like, dude, I'm shooting water into this thing, you know. But it ended up coming out good. And what bike did he put that on? I think that's on the War Turkey, and it did work. So um, yeah, so then I set out to build one because I was like, I can't, I'm not ever gonna have 3 grand for like an upgraded unit, and I ended up selling that little VHT for what I bought it for, and so I had my money back, and I found how to motorcycle repair HTMR, If you just look up vaporhoning on YouTube, you'll find this guy. His name's Matthew, and he's from the Midwest, Wisconsin or some shit. You know, he talks like this, you know, or whatever. But he sells vaporhoning plans, and he has a bunch of videos, and they run the gamut from. He has plans for like a basic unit that will cost you $500, which is really cheap. So vapor honers, they use compressed air, but they also have a pump, and this pump costs over $300. Um, so you're getting into vapor honing. You're spending $300 on the pump, and then the rest of it is basically to convert an existing cabinet to vapor honing. So my next, what I did was I bought plans on how to convert a Harbor Freight cabinet into a vapor honer. And he gives you a parts list and videos on how to do every fucking step. You cannot fuck it up. He's really thorough. Yeah, dude. It's definitely worth. I don't know what like the bare bones he calls it is what I started with. The bare bones kit, the plans I think he sells for like 60 or $70, and it can be as good or as bad as you want it to be. You know what I mean? So basically, for $600 with the plans, you're buying a $300 pump, and then the rest of the stuff you get at the garage. What the fuck? I can't think of the fucking name. Hardware store. Jesus Christ. What'd you call it?
Like,
Obarshan?
what's it called? Abashan or some shit?
Obashan? Yeah, so you can get everything you need at Obashan. You probably have most of the stuff anyways. So the first one I built, I used his plans, and I just did like a bare bones one, which is essentially you get I had a Harbor Freight blast cabinet that I was using, and you just punch new holes in it, right? So like the plans are good because you're just like, once you understand the principle, so basically you need somewhere where it stores water and media in the pump, right? So I bought it's for a sump pump, and it's just like a thick plastic thing that basically you would hollow out an area in your basement, and you put the sump pump in there, and they sell them. I think they're like $30 at Home Depot, and you just shove that under your Harbor Freight cabinet and take the little trap door off at the bottom, stick a pump in there, fill it with water, put media in it. And that pump, what that does is, in the plans, the pump, you know, it has to agitate. So you build like at a PVC pipe, like a pumping, an agitation system. So that's run just like strictly off the pump. The pump is like a garbage pump or a pond pump or something. Like it's something that you would stick in like a pond to empty it or something, right? Or it's like a little maybe 1.5 foot tower, and at the bottom it just sucks everything in. And the thing is about it is it has an impeller in there, but it's made out of like a special material that doesn't wear down, because you can get trash pumps for like $0. And in fact, a lot of people build these vapor honers, their first ones, they'll build them with these wicked cheap trash pumps. You can get them for like $50. The problem is you can't really do it commercially because all the parts inside the pump are shitty, and you're sucking up like coarse media into the pump with water under pressure, and these impellers all, you know, they'll break down and shit. So I've had really good luck with this pump. I've never had any problems with it. And you can get it on Amazon. It's like a tsunami pump or something like that. It's just like a trash pump from China. So anyways, you have the agitation out of the PVC pipe, which is basically like two arms that point down toward the bottom, and it blows out of there and agitates the media. So the media becomes suspended. So the glass becomes suspended in the water. It becomes a slurry, kind of like mud. And then you have a hose running from the top of the pump that goes into your gun, just like imagine sandblasting. So the in sandblasting, you'll have a tube that goes down to your metering valve. This one goes into the pump. And then
So
you
is
have
there
another
no
hose
air
off your
involved in
gun.
this?
Well, that's the next step. So your gun, it has two nozzle. It's just it's the same exact gun as a sandblasting gun, right? So you have one nozzle goes to your air supply, or one hose goes off of the gun to your air supply, and the other one goes to the pump.
Ah, okay.
So you can use your sandblasting gun that you have. It's just the one that typically just goes down to your metering valve to suck out the sand, or a lot of sandblasters have that pickup tube, right? That just goes down into like, it just sucks it up with the air, sucks it up under a vacuum. But you can just have it's a regular gun that you would use
The
for
same tip and
sandblasting.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you just go standard, I have a specialty one and I can get into that later, but um, it's all about like what you want to do. If you just want one to work on your own shit, don't waste money on the gun. Get all the cheap stuff. Don't use brass, because you use a lot of brass fittings, like air fittings and stuff, and hose barbs and shit. That was my first mistake. When I built my first one, I used all brass, and it's fucking wicked expensive. But it's a low pressure system. So your gun, the pump is pumping the slurry up, and there's not high pressure there. Your PSI that goes from your air supply into the gun, you're blasting at like 40 to 60 PSI. So very low pressure. And so what I did on like later iterations is I just did plastic fittings. They have all the same plastic fittings that they have brass, and it saves you a hell of a lot of money. Because if you get like a little brass hose barb, that's like $7.99.
Yeah.
The little plastic ones are like $2. So the first one I did all brass fittings, which is just bare bones, which is essentially, it's called, there's two different categories of vaporhoner. There's what's called an open loop system and a closed loop system. An open loop system, you have to have a water supply that comes in that pumps water to work. Like if you have a spray hose inside to like wash parts, and you also I have like a wiper blade in it, a little squirter thing, like windshield washer fluid, that comes out. So the first one I did was an open loop, which means I'm feeding water in to the system. So periodically I did have to drain it out, because all that additional water comes into the system and it goes into your sump basin, and then you have to drain it off, or otherwise it'll just come out of the basin and go everywhere. And it also dilutes like your you have to have a certain ratio. Yeah, so the ratio, media to water ratio, has to be a certain amount, or that it's either too watery, you're not going to get enough media, or it's too thick and you're not going to get enough pressure. So you want that to be like, I like it around like 25 to 30%, but like anywhere in that neighborhood. And you can do testing, and Matt goes over all this stuff like in his videos. There's a how to measure like what's actually coming out of the gun, so you can kind of fine tune it. So that was my bare bones one, and I had a bigger cabinet, and it was great. But it still wasn't big enough for what I wanted. I wanted to get into doing like frames, and at the time I was doing a lot of car parts and shit. And just moving, like imagine like moving around like engine cases. I needed more room to be able to flip things around. So Grease actually had a line on this. It was a 5x6x4 huge double bay industrial Trinco sandblaster at his work at the time. And they had it outside sitting there for like, he said it was like sitting out there for like a year. And every day they'd push it out, and they have like a sign on it for $1,200, and then they push it back inside, and then they take it out and put it. And he was like, I'll talk to my boss about it if you want it. And I was like, dude, I would love to have that, because even on Facebook Marketplace, if you get like a huge like industrial size sandblaster, they're over $1,000 for sure.
Yeah.
Um, and Trinco is like a really nice one. It's like USA made and really thick sheet metal. So he talked to his boss, and I was going to be like, dude, I'll give him $700 for it or whatever. And Grease, in his infinite wisdom, was like, let me just ask him what he wants for it. And I'm so glad he did that. So I got it for $100. The dude was like, if he can come
Shut
pick this
up.
piece of, if you
It
can
was
pick this
100.
piece of shit, yeah, $100, dude. He was like, if he gets this piece of shit out of my life today, I'll fucking sell it to him for $100. He just wanted the fucking thing gone. So huge come
Yeah.
up there. And I was like, dude, I'll be there. And I got this thing is fucking heavy, dude. This thing weighs like
It was huge.
500.
Huge.
Dude, it's 6 feet. It's 6 feet tall, and it's 5 wide and 4 deep, and it's all sheet metal. And it's probably like, I'm gonna say it was like maybe 14 or 12 gauge steel. Like it was like really heavy duty, and it has like light boxes on top too. And when I picked it up, they had it on a pallet. So there's this huge wooden pallet that it was screwed into. So I rode down there. I had a trailer, and the dude, he got it on a forklift, and he just went bloop, and he dumped it down. And me and Grease just strapped it down to the trailer. And then I got it home, and I was like, how the fuck am I going to get this thing in my garage? Like, how the fucking fuck am I going to get this thing in my garage? You can't move it like with 4 people. Like, it's just like so heavy and weird and top heavy too. Because the other thing is, it opens up like the whole into like a clamshell. So like the front has these clamps on it, and you open that up, and you can open the whole fucking top off. But you're supposed to have like a hoist that picks it up. You know what I mean? Because you can't do it by hand. There's not like a handle. You can just be like, throw it open. It's too fucking heavy. So I ended up getting it into my garage. I had my brother come over, and we drank a bunch of beers, and I was like, dude, let's just muscle this fucking thing in here. And I parked on my driveway, like comes down, and I go, let's just start pushing this fucking thing down my dirt driveway. And if we can get it going, we can probably get it into the garage, you know, like with the momentum. And we did it. We got it off. We just started rocking it off the fucking trailer. Once it started sliding, we just kept on fucking pushing it, and we got it right up into the garage, right on the cement. And I was like, fucking hey, dude, I couldn't believe that we didn't die. I didn't believe that I was going to be like that easy, because like nothing ever is, but this actually worked. And I was like, holy shit. But then I had to get the pallet off the bottom, because I was like, dude, I can't be like moving this thing around my garage. It was like blocking my garage door, you know? So I was like, I need to get it on casters. So I have a ceiling hoist in my garage that does like, I think it does like a ton or something like that. And I hooked it up, and I fucking lifted up off the ground, and I got these iron casters from like Tractor Supply or some shit. I think they're like 4 inches, and I welded them as this thing is like swinging above my head. I got down there, and I just welded these casters on. So then I can move it around the garage. So that ceiling hoist, I mean, really paid for itself that day, because there's no other way. I had to get it up. I had to unscrew all those holes and get that huge fucking pallet out of there, and then get it on some wheels. Oh yeah, actually I had to do quite a bit to get those wheels on. I had to actually like build a frame around the bottom. But anyways, I got it on the wheels, and then I wanted to build the closed loop system. So in a closed loop system, you have a series of, you don't feed new water in, but you have to have filtration to filter the water so you have fresh water come out. So what I did with this big unit, I finally got it into place. I plumbed it in, again, using, so HTMR, I can't recommend it enough. He has a bunch of different plans. My recommendation is he actually has plans to build a wooden vaporhoner out of wood.
What?
Yeah. So you can essentially build, if you don't have any material and you have like lots of plywood, you can build a vaporhoner however big you want it. And in fact, the plans that he has for the wooden one, it's both. It's both dry blasting and wet blasting. You can just unhook a hose and go back and forth and do either one. So
Damn.
yeah, dude. Yeah, they're really thorough and they're really creative. And there's so many iterations because you've been doing it for a long time. But really smart guy. And yeah, the plans are amazing. And the best part is, like, once you don't have to follow him, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to drill exactly where he's saying to drill. Like, you can make it set up once you understand that it's like, all right, so you have a gun inside, you need water inside. Like, you can put all this shit wherever you want it to go. You know? So, especially like his plans that I had were for a Harbor Freight cabinet, like a little Harbor Freight basic cabinet. Now I have this huge fucking double bay sandblaster, you know? But with the principles I learned from building the first one, I was like, well, I can definitely build the second one. So yeah, I ended up trading my first vapor honer, Chopper Bob, and I just started anew, and it was like my winter build. So I just went, and the first thing you have to do is you have to figure out, because the bottom of a sandblaster is not waterproof, right? A sandblast cabinet is not waterproof. And part of the reason people hate sandblasting is, I mean, you've had a sandblaster. As soon as you start blasting, that dust gets out of that cabinet. It's floating around your garage. It gets fucking everywhere. It's wicked messy. The benefit of the vapor blaster is that there's no dust. It's dustless. And that's why like the Europeans went to vapor blasting rather than sandblasting, just so you're not breathing that shit in. So yeah, I built this big fucking thing. I used the closed loop plans, which is so much more convenient. Does it
come with both?
Yeah, you buy.
Does it come with closed or open loop?
Yeah, so he has a bunch of different options, but if you buy like the top tier one for the wooden cabinet, you can build any kind of vapor honer out of any kind of cabinet with that. You can build the cabinet out of wood and waterproof it and all that shit. Or you can just apply the same principles to like whatever cabinet you have. In those too. So like if you buy like the bare bones, you're not going to get like things like the immersion heater, right? So like here in New England, I work with water. My garage is not heated all year round. So I have to keep the water warm, you know? So you have to build in things that keep the water warm. And it also helps with cleaning too. So if you have like your water at a certain temperature, it's going to melt like oil and stuff like that. And I also added a lot to it that he didn't have in there, you know, like just for my particular setup. Just a different way of doing things, you know, like, because once you understand the principles, and by the way, there's an awesome Facebook group that he runs. So like once you buy the plans, you get on the Facebook group, and these guys are fucking maniacs, you know. In fact, CT Newman is on this vapor honing group, and he made the most insane like space age vapor honer. It was insane, dude. It's all like stainless steel. It has like touch screens and computers and stuff. It's fucking nuts.
What the fuck?
Yeah, dude.
Of course he
did. Fucking nuts. Yeah. Yeah, it's the most beautiful vapor honer. Dude, like vapor honing guys like
vapor honer.
Yeah. I have that like on a thumb drive. I don't want my wife to see it. Like, I don't want her to know that's people are capable of doing that. But yeah, just like nuts. You can get as nuts as you want, or you can do bare bones. You know, like if you just want to pump some water and get some crushed glass and all that shit. As far as cost, it runs the gamut. I mean, you can build a $12,000, $1,200 unit, or you can build a $500 unit. So it's definitely, you know, what I did was you just buy parts as over time, you know, because there's 1,000 different parts on this thing. So don't go out and just like order everything all at once, unless you got it like that. I mean, I got low life on my t-shirt, so I got to buy shit over the course of a bunch of months, you know, and just like go to the hardware store and get like some pieces and build like part of it at a time. But the good thing is you can always add to it, so you start off with the bare bones and then work your way up and add an immersion heater, add like get a better gun. But yeah, so you asked about the gun earlier. uh, Matt also sells parts for this stuff, and he actually designed a vapor honing gun. And it's one of like three on the market. uh, there's not a lot of vapor honing specific guns, but it has like a ceramic nozzle, and basically it's built because everything with vapor honing is all about CFM and utilizing that CFM, just like blasting, like sandblasting, right? So his gun like works twice as fast as like a Chinese, just the sandblasting gun just looks like a little freaking tube, you know what I mean? It has like the ceramic nozzle or whatever, but it's built for dry blasting and it's super cheap. You can get one of those for $30, or it's already in your machine. The one that he built, it's like $250, but it's twice as fast. So I ended up getting that because I was doing it commercially. So it's all about time. But the vapor, and again, like if you're doing it commercially, you're going to want things that I have on mine. Like I have a timer, and that's how I bill people. So like as soon as I step down on the pedal and it starts to blast, that's when the clock starts, and I just record that, and then I record when I end, and
Damn,
then
that's dope. I didn't know
exactly.
that.
Yeah. So then like I usually give people quotes, and I've done so many that I'm pretty sure, like, cause most of the stuff, like I used to do a bunch of wild shit, and I'm just like, I'm going to stick to the things that I know work well,
Right.
that have a good finished product. So like, like Lex, he had that, aluminum mag, that's aluminum cast wheel. And I looked at it and I was like, yeah, it's probably about $100, considering. And it's hard to tell because like once you get it, you see a picture of something and then you get it and you're like, oh dude, that's like way worse in person, like, and that's the thing is like the crustier and rustier and paint and stuff like that. Like but I've been doing it a long enough time that you realize that vapor honing is not magic. Like you can't throw shit in there that's just like covered with grease and stuff, right? Because well, you can, but like I do it for not just myself, I do it for other people. So if I throw a greasy ass fucking wheel in there, all that oil's going in that water, you know? And then it's going to turn into a sludge and it's going to be fucking gross and it's going to stick to the walls and shit. So like you learn like things like a lot of people do dry blasting before they vapor hone, you know? Especially like with paint and things like that. You want it to go faster, you use more abrasive, media. But for me, my wheelhouse is like doing finishing work. So I can take like an old, aluminum carburetors are like my favorite thing in the world. Disassemble those, break them all apart. It works wonders on brass and aluminum and those soft metals. Uh, and then like rebuilding that stuff, it's like interesting to me. Um, and then of course, like engine cases, I've done a billion of those. But there's just, I learned over time, there's certain things I won't touch. Like I've done chrome before, but if someone wants to vapor hone chrome, I wouldn't trust them. Doesn't come out good. It's not going to look like chrome anymore. It etches the surface because the way that you're using it's you are sandblasting it essentially, right? So it's the same principle. You're shooting media at the surface. The reason vapor honing is like a leg up is for the operator. You're not dealing with a bunch of dust and bullshit like getting it. Like you'll have just piles of media around your cabinet like after you're done using it. But it also cleans, and it gets into places that if you're not aimed at it, like a carburetor, right? There's a lot of like passages and things that, or like engine heads, right? Like to get in there, the water will flow in there. And the reason I use like glass media, the glass is a ball. It's not like a jagged piece of crushed glass. It's a ball. So the water, it hits the surface, it cushions it, and then it rolls along the surface. So it goes in all those little passages and gets all those like little hard to reach places, and it doesn't fuck up the metal. It doesn't heat it up or warp it. So like I do a lot of heads, um, with like the valves in, you know, and it doesn't fuck up like where it's seated. It doesn't fuck it up like you can do steel like that. Um, if you're going to be rebuilding it, but like if you leave it, again, it's water, right? So like as soon as it comes out, you're going to have to protect that coating because like if it had paint on it or if it had some or if it's been like swimming in oil, right? It's not like rusting, but as soon as you clean it and it's just against the elements, then steel will flash rust, right? So if like dude, when I did Josh's frame, Steel City Blacksmithing, like that motherfucking thing wanted to flash rust. Like as soon as I hit it, it's like, and that was probably a job probably that we should have done like dry blasting, you know. I just didn't have
Right.
the and that's why I went downsized, right? Because I went to this huge cabinet. I started doing frames. I started doing like this big shit, and I was like, dude, I don't think this is the process for it. And also, I didn't enjoy it. You know, like doing a frame takes a long time. There is a lot of surface material, and especially like
I think that'd be something you have to sandblast first.
I would send them out because you can sandblast a frame if you're gonna get it powder coated or whatever, or just get it sandblasted. Those industrial sandblast dudes, they'll do it mad cheap. And if you vapor hone it, you're doing it for the finish. So it made a lot of sense with like Josh's because wasn't painting his frame. He wanted it raw, so he wanted that vapor hone finish,
Right.
and that was a lot of fun to do. But what I was like, I don't think I want to do that again. You know, and I couldn't also be like if someone gave me their frame to vapor hone and they were going to keep it raw and stuff, I'd be like, dude, it's going to be a lot of money. It's going to be a lot of money to do that. So it just didn't make sense business wise to keep that real estate in my garage to have that huge vapor honer when I didn't want to do car stuff anymore and I didn't want to do frames and shit. So I just downsized this year and I just bought a new Harbor Freight. Well, I didn't buy it. I had it because I was doing dry blasting too. So I just converted that one back to a vapor honer, and now I'm just doing chopper stuff, just doing motorcycle stuff, just doing lots of carbs and engines and shit like that. But to get into it, it's pretty expensive. So you're not going to be able to buy the plans, buy all the parts, because there's a lot of, I mean, media. That's a big cost, and that's you have to renew it too, right? You don't just dump the media in there and then use it forever. You have to. It breaks down over time. Uh, all the parts to build it, you're looking at anywhere between 500 and 1,200 bucks to do a decent one. So if you want to do like a top, like mine's pretty nice and it has like really nice lighting. I have a thermometer in the water. I know exactly what that is. I have the water all heated in 3 different bays. I have like a nice gun. I use Flexzilla hosing, so it's like it doesn't when it's cold out, it doesn't like get hard to bend. I probably spent about 1,500 on mine over time, but I didn't spend it all at once. So 1,500 bucks for top of the line, not well, top of the line, just like doing it commercially. Uh, Media is going to be a recurring thing, and then CRC is what I use for corrosion inhibitor, and I go through a lot of that shit, and that shit ain't cheap either. And bacteria stat, you have to make sure that algae doesn't grow in this fucking water too. So there's like just a lot of things to consider. But yeah, definitely an expensive hobby. I think it's way better than sandblasting shit. And if you're doing motorcycles, building yourself, and you're working on engines and carburetors, I think it's way better than sandblasting and probably worth the 500 bucks. Um, I mean, if you look at any engine builder dudes that are doing it like really well, they get everything vapor honed, just because it doesn't fuck it up. It's going to keep those tolerances, and it's brand spanking new when you get it. It has a nice finish. And with aluminum, you don't have to protect it. I've had shit, dude. I from that first year that I started back in 2020, I have stuff just sitting on the shelf, and the garage gets humid too because my compressor's going nonstop. No oxidation, So I did start finishing some things with shark hide, which is like a protector for. I use it on steel mostly, but there's all sorts of stuff you can do. But and then again, once it's done, you can polish it too, and that's a layer of protection too. So I would only recommend getting into vapor honing if you want to run it as a business. I made some pretty good money on it. You're not going to be working full time, right? It's not
I
a
think you
full-time
probably could
thing.
if I think you probably could if you didn't narrow it like how you did. Like if you weren't like, I just want to do like motorcycle shit and like vices and like that kind of stuff. Like if you were like, I'm doing fucking car parts, I'm doing fucking engine blocks, I think you could probably go full time.
Oh, well,
Because
I
like the
think
car guys are nuts about that kind of shit.
yeah. Yeah, I did quite a bit of car stuff, and that is lucrative because car stuff is so much bigger than motorcycle stuff. You
Yeah,
know?
I'll tell you what you should advertise for. Is intake manifolds for cars, like the ones for like old small block Chevys and all that shit.
Yeah.
The Edelbrock intakes, they're aluminum,
Yep.
and dude, after a few years, they look like fucking dog
Yeah.
shit.
I actually
But they're
just
only
did that Edelbrock for Astroman for his hot rod.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, on the carb or
and
the intake?
the intake, the Edelbrock
Yeah. That's what I'm
intake.
saying. You
Yeah,
advertise for those,
it
dude.
wasn't bad.
You'll kill it on those.
Yeah. I wouldn't I actually didn't mind doing those, you know, like it's hard to quote those because I'm not like, you know, someone sends me a picture and I'm like, I don't even know how big that is. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, can you
Yeah,
put a measuring tape next to it, you know?
yeah,
But yeah, I don't mind doing really anything aluminum. Anything cast aluminum comes out fucking amazing. And you know, yeah, I say I want to work on motorcycle stuff. But if you have like cool hot rod shit, I'll probably, you know, if you're a cool dude, I'll probably do it.
yeah. I think hot rod shit is you could really fucking
Yeah.
up your game with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely glad I got into it. The best part about getting into whatever, you know, for me, the best part about getting into vaporhoning was now it you know, like I was kind of like in a an observer to the community, and once you offer a service like vaporhoning or pinstriping or painting or whatever it is, you just like immediately become part of the community because now you have a skill set that is
You're
valuable
contributing
to
something.
people. Yeah, you're not just like showing up at shows, drinking beer, and being like, "Cool bike." Like you're helping people get their projects done and stuff. You know, so like for me, I would say like that's that was the best part. You get to meet people you that are like have similar interests. You're making a little bit of extra money. You're doing interesting things, but the most rewarding part was like that's how I met Fish Tank. That's how I met Dan. You know, like they brought parts over. You know, and you get to know these people, and then you become friends, and then you're part of the community, and you're valuable. You like have a fucking skill set. You know, like
Yeah,
you're not just like, oh hey, guy that builds cool bikes for himself. Like you're contributing back into the community, I guess. So I
yeah,
don't know. That was the best part for me is just you know, I think everybody should, you know, like if you're part of this community and you don't necessarily have to have a business, you know, like but you're a creator, you know, like if you're into choppers, you're into creating things. It's like make a little small run of parts, you know, like do a little bit of paint, be like niche. You don't have to make it like a huge thing, you know, but like contribute a little something, do some leather work, you know, whatever is interesting to you, you know.
yeah. I agree. What a fucking episode, huh?
Yeah, this was fun. You're the idea man. Yeah, like I just wait for you to tell me what we're talking about, but you came up with some bangers. This was great.
Yeah, I don't. I just like came. I was like, this will be. I think we could. This will be because people like when they learn shit from this show. I've heard
Yeah,
people like learning some shit.
yeah,
I think people also like just hearing us fucking talk bullshit, but I think people really enjoy learning some shit. Now, even if you don't ever go do either one of these things, now when somebody else is doing it, you have a little bit more respect because you know what goes into it now. You know what I mean? Like now you know some shit. Even like I said, even if you never do it, now you can at least talk about it. You have knowledge from listening to the show today.
yeah. Hopefully, we've inspired you. You know, if there's something that you're interested in getting into, you know, like a lot of this stuff, especially in the motorcycle, you know, in the scene, it's not expensive to get into necessarily, you know, and it's something that it's kind of like motorcycles. Definitely, like choppers are like my passion, what I'm focused on. But what is that? It's all these other things that you need to learn how to do. You know, like welding. You know, like painting. All that stuff. It's all there's like 3,000 different things that you get into, like just outside of that, and it might spark some interest elsewhere. You know what I mean? Like you might find that maybe you're not a chopper guy, you like hot rods or some shit, you know. But I just think that's the most interesting part of my life is just like learning about things that are cool, you know, like
Yeah.
pinstriping, you know. Like I'm not good at it. I don't want to get into that business, but it's a useful skill. I mean, I did a little bit of it today, you know, and I learned some stuff, and I talk to you about pinstriping all the time. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's fun to do with your friends. Pinstripe is like a thing you can do
Yeah.
with friends.
Yeah.
Like, even if like your friends don't give a fuck about it, when you're having a garage night and you bust out some fucking pinstripe and shit, all your buddies are gonna want to try. They're gonna want to fuck up
Yeah.
everything in your garage. You know what I mean? And it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I love it, man.
Yeah. We should do a little panel jam because
Yeah.
that would be fun. Just like
I've been
with
telling
a bunch
Dan
of
this
novices.
too, dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
Dan fucked with some pinstriping. Yeah, I'd be down.
Yeah. Because then I could use your paint
Yeah, I have a lot of
because
paint.
I only got 3
But
colors.
I have neon paint that glows in the dark, bro.
No shit.
Yeah, it kind of sucks, but it's like chalky for some reason. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Well, now is a great fucking time to give a shout out to those motherfucking people who make this show possible. Up first, we have Lowbrow Customs, everything you need for the road ahead. One of the only websites where you can build an entire fucking motorcycle, a whole ass chopper from this one website. And if that's not enough for you to get over there and buy some shit, how about the fact that Tyler and his team support everything grassroots chopper? Go to any chopper show and try to tell me that you can't find a Lowbrow Customs banner. Old Son is supporting
Can't do
everything fucking cool. So return the favor. Get over to lowbrowcustoms.com. Order some fucking parts. And then once you get those parts, take some pictures. Put them on Instagram and say, hey, my boys from the Low Life Motherfucking Chopper podcast told me to come over here. Up next, we got Deadbeat Customs, the creator of the Deadbeat Retreat. Steve has been supporting us from pretty much the fucking beginning of this show, even through all the reckless shit, through the cancellation of the fucking show. Steve has stuck by our side. Deadbeat Customs has a little bit of everything for everyone. Chopper parts, fucking bagger parts, dyna parts, riding gear, luggage, whatever the fuck you need, you can get it at Deadbeat Customs. Use code LOWLIFE at checkout to save that motherfucking money. Next, we got No Luck Paintworks. Old Son is cooking up the dopest motherfucking paint jobs in the Northeast. You heard it here first. Ain't nobody touching my boy in the paint game. Dude is a fucking beast. I'm telling you right now, stop sleeping on that kid. If you want to take your build to the next level, or you want to take your fucking shitty bike that you have now to the next level, hit Dan up, get on the books. It's wintertime. This is when you paint your bike, fellas. So get on the books, and Dan will have you looking right for spring. I promise you. Again, that's No Luck Paintworks on Instagram. Next, we got Steel City Blacksmithing. Dude is twisting everything metal. He'll make you rims, frames, handlebars, pegs, fucking kickstands, whatever the fuck you want. He'll make it. He's another kid that will literally help you bring your build to the next level. Set you aside from everybody else at the fucking show. He's actually building a bike for the Smokeout for 2024. So go give him a follow so you can follow that build. And check him out, steelcityblacksmithing.com or Steel City Blacksmithing on Instagram. Next, we got Stay Strong Co., About to see the sexy man in white jeans in fucking
He's
next
coming.
weekend, bro.
He's
bringing
coming,
that
baby.
hot sauce. Can't wait to see John Luke. Check out Stay Strong Co. on Instagram. And listen, he doesn't just do hot sauce. He does all kinds of artsy shit. He does jackets, hoodies, fucking patches. Jewelry. He does all kinds of shit, dude. Jewelry. So hit up Stay Strong Co. on Instagram, staystrongco.com too, I think, right? He has a website, yeah? Mm-hmm. Check him out. Tell him the boys from Low Life Chop Podcast sent you. And if you want to meet the fancy pants, white pants, sexy man, Jesus boy, fucking hot sauce god, he would be at the Chop Luck. That'll be your fucking chance. So get down there.
Don't miss it.
And get some of that sweet heat. Next, we got Rhino Resto.
Inconveniently located in Henniker, New Hampshire. I might be doing some hot rod parts. Definitely doing chopper parts. Home of the vaporhoner boner, except no substitutes. I see that from time to time. Vaporhoner boner. That's my shit. I invented it. Okay. But yeah, hit me up. Rhino_resto on Instagram. Tell me what you got. This is vaporhoning season right now too. So you got to get your paint done. You got to get your shit vaporhoned. Let me know what you got. Give you a good price. Last but not least, Loctite Chop
Shop, conveniently located in Epping, New Hampshire. For all your pinstripe needs, hit me the fuck up. You can hit me up at Loctite Shop on Instagram or Loctite at lowlifechopperpodcast.com. That's an email, by the way. For whatever you need, if you have parts you want to ship here, I'll get them done and ship them back. If you're semi-local, I can come to you and do it, or you can drop your shit off here. I have room in the fucking garage. Or if you want just some fucking custom shit done, you want wall hangers, you want garage signs, you want fucking whatever, your grandma's urn, fucking hit me up, and I'll take that shit to the next level. And last but not least, this little tidbit I like to add on to the end of our show. If you like this show, if you like this content, go check out our boys at Big Truth Podcast, cooking up dope ass episodes. Check out the Crazy Gentleman Podcast. That's my homie Rob. He's my fucking redneck from another mother. We like to kill fucking animals together. So check that out. Also check out the Easy Co on YouTube. These guys will make you chuckle for hours. You will laugh so hard you will cry, and you won't even know what the episode was about. The shit is just funny. They're funny motherfuckers, and they build cool shit. So check them out, Easy Co on YouTube. And last but not least, we got the boy, Grease's Garage. If you're struggling through your build, go check him out. He covers everything from setting your points to your fucking belt drives, jockey shifts, whatever the fuck you need to learn. You can learn it from Grease himself at Grease's Garage on YouTube. And make sure when you check these boys out and you subscribe to their shit or you download their episodes, tell them that the boys from the Low Life Chopper Podcast sent you. You heard?
Yeah,
Put some motherfucking respect on my name.
Grease has said he's gonna be at the Chop Luck too. So we're gonna have a good, we're gonna have a good time. Last but certainly not least,
I'm gonna shut my toast off while you do this.
This show, the Low Life newly minted Low Life Chopper Podcast. We're back. We're better than ever. Go to our link tree on Instagram. Links in the bio. Buy some shirts. And if you want a swag pack, that's a shirt, a koozie, and a 4-inch huge big boy sticker.
Big old sticker.
We're running that special through December. I just decided. So hit us up and get on that fucking Patreon. We have a lot of fun.
And listen, the next stickers
are fucking hilarious.
The next stickers we do will be smaller. They're going to be about nipple size. We're going to send those out for free. And you got to put them on the girl and send those pics back so we can have some advertising.
I got tiny nipples.
That's a tiny little sticker. 1/4-inch sticker. Is that a sticker or a piece of fuzz? Oh, fuck. Listen, I hope you motherfuckers enjoyed this episode. You can see we went for 2 hours. That's because we're passionate about the shit we do. So hopefully that shined through on this episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And if you guys have any guests that you would like to hear on the show, you can drop that in the Patreon if you're a Patreon subscriber, or you can send it to Low Life Chopper Podcast on Instagram, or either one of our emails, Loctite at lowlifechopperpodcast.com or Rhino at lowlifechopperpodcast.com. If you have any guests you want to hear or any kind of fucking discussions or shit you want to know about, let us fucking know, and we'll try to make it happen, Captain. But until next time, I'll see you fucking cunts later.
See you next weekend at the Chop Block.